Hi everyone, welcome back to GameMaker Cast. It's Mickey, and in this video I wanted to do another product review. I will say that I got this product for free, so I actually did not spend any money on it. However, it's not going to interfere with the review of the product itself. So we're going to be checking out SmearFx, which is from Code Manchu, and they have a bunch of different products out there, like JuiceFX is one of them. I believe I've already looked at that one before. So this is the product we're going to be working with, and I'm also going to be using this fantasy pack, which you can also download for free on opengameart.org. So right here in SmearFx, if we scroll down, you can see they have Juice, Pixel FX Designer, and a couple other things. One of the nice things, they do have a demo, so definitely check that out. So what is this product really used for? Well, they have some logo here, they have some animations, but let's dive right into it. This is the default view that it comes with, or that first loads up. It's not really overwhelming. It can be at first, but once you get the general idea of what you want to do, it's pretty easy to use. So in here, we have a couple things. We can simulate anything here on the left. So this is kind of how our sprite will look. And then we can render it out, which will actually render out the frames, which then we can export, or we can export a GIF of that animation. So let's actually create a new one, and I'm going to import, and I'm going to choose, let's see here, the upgraded dagger. And the number of frames is 1, and the sprite width and height, according to the website, is 64. So in here, I can simulate what this is going to look like using the default that it came with, which was just kind of a swinging motion. And I can see that now it's going off the screen. If I hit render, obviously it's the exact same thing. So it's kind of making a half arc. If you've ever used any of Code Manchu's programs before, you can know that we have a bounding box. And if we left click, we can change the anchor point of that sprite. So let's put the anchor kind of right in the middle there. I think that's pretty good. We have an offset X and Y up there that we can use, but just by eyeballing it, that looks pretty good. So now if we simulate, we can see that we have kind of we have a half spinning dagger, so we can render that. Let's make it a full spinning dagger by changing the angle to 360. And you can see that now we have that. Let's pretend I wanted this dagger to continuously spin. How would I do that in this program? Well, over here we have a bunch of easing. So you can see that I can drag this all the way to the right, and I have custom, or I can go all the way to the left. So we can try this different easing here, and we could hit simulate to see what that looks like. And nothing really here is going to render a full spinning dagger unless we go all the way to the left and we use linear. So in there, you can see that now we have a spinning dagger. And yes, you could totally do this in GameMaker Studio. One of the things you couldn't do without a bunch of code is let's increase this quality of the trail. Let's increase the life of the trail. And now let's render, and you can see that we have something like that. We can increase actually the life to full on 1. Let's actually put down 75. How's that? 75, and render that. So now we have a dagger spinning. We can decrease or increase the playback speed. So if we want a fast dagger, or if we wanted a slow dagger, we could do that. We could also change the number of frames. So we could say skip every frame. Then we'll get something like that. And then once again, you can speed it down, or you can make it faster. I'm going to change that back to 1 and put that. So I'm going to render this out. I'm going to export, and I'll choose this one that I already did. So I'll hit save. And let me load up that directory, and I'm just going to drag and drop it into my paint program here. And now you can see that if I were to zoom out, because it's a 64-bit sprite, you can see that this is what we will get, and we could easily import that into GameMaker and make it a sprite animation. So let's do one more thing with this program. Let's do new, and with this, because I'm not very good at art, I'm going to import, and let's say I import the axe here. So once again, the website says it is 64 by 60. I'm going to say accept. So by default, this is what it looks like, but what I want to do is I want to have it swinging the other way. So now that left click, we can drag the anchor point, and once we do that, we can simulate it. And now, I mean, it's swinging the right way, but it's swinging off the screen. We can right click and then drag the sprite over. so we kind of get it at least on the screen. But if we want to flip the sprite, let's do a scale of -2. And now when we render, we have our sprite going the right way. Let's change this to say 90. And we can play around with the custom easing here to get something that we could also play around with the trail. We have some movement. We also have the outline color. So right now it's set to black. We can set it to white. And let's see what that looks like. And we also have a couple of different other options here. We can also enable the advanced mode. So this means that if this was to be enabled, we have the X and Y position, and then the angle, scales, skew, and frame and trail. So anything that, what are we doing here? We're doing the angle. So in here, we could change the angle at how it renders, or I guess the speed that it renders, based on the advanced configuration up here. So if we reset that, once again, we can export this out, and I'm holding down the space key without even noticing. So I'll just say frames, so we can render out that frames. Or what we could do is we could actually just render out the ax.gif. And if we go to our directory, once again, you can see that we have that ax animation, and then we have the, did I save the ax frames, sword frames? I called it sword even though it's ax. So when we load that in, you can see that once again we have a sprite sheet, so we can easily put that in the GameMaker, and it already has the effects and everything built in. So that is actually really cool. There's a bunch of other things you can do. You can do the Y scale, skew things. You can also have it, let me do new. What are we at here? We are at 7 minutes, so we'll quickly go through. Other thing you can do is, let's say you wanted to have something, import this blue potion. I'm just going to go off the top of my head here. We'll choose our frame height and width. And in here, I am going to move this off the screen, and then I want it to come back. And that was silly of me because angle is 0. Okay, so now let's do this again. Let's move it off the screen, and I want it to come back. So the other things I want to talk about is we have pre-frames and post-frames. So I'm going to use half a second, which is 30 post-frames here. So when I render this, it's going to come up and then stay on my screen. So that's actually pretty cool, and you could easily use this effect in your game if someone was mousing over these potions and then they clicked on one, and you could have this effect just kind of pop up, and then you could write a new effect where it drains out or something like that. Anyway, it's a quick overview of this program. I highly suggest you check out the demo. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to see about using it in some of my games if I ever get around to creating them. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty cool. Thanks for watching.